Welcome back, All Things MSP crew. We are here again for another vendor update. Of course, we bring these to you so that you can kind of get an idea of what all these different vendors in our space do. And I also want to keep in mind that the vendors who agree to do this are the vendors that I think are putting a good foot forward in terms of engaging with the community. And there is probably no better example of somebody who is putting it out there in the community than George Bardissi from BVoIP, and of course, MSP Initiative as well.
Thanks for having me on, Eric. Appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime, sir. Really appreciate what you do for this community and all of the community efforts that you put in to make sure that we maintain this specialness that we have as an MSP industry and don't forget where our roots came from, but also are encouraged to explore new avenues. So, George, of course, we're here to talk about BVoIP, but as an introduction to the All Things MSP community, tell us a little bit about yourself and BVoIP.
Absolutely. I started, owned, and operated an MSP just like most of you out there, from myself to functioning. I started way back in 2000, 2001. I was a bit younger then, still young now, but was able to go from myself out of the back of my trunk into a nice size MSP with tons of customers that were doing good revenue. Out of that, I ultimately started a second company, BVoIP, which is very exclusive from we only work with MSP and IT services providers from a channel standpoint and don't handle direct customers as a result. And then from there, right before the pandemic started, we launched MSP Initiative as a third company because we really appreciate the community. Like Eric said, it is a special one. And I think, we wanted to expand on that. And we've done some cool things. If you guys remember back when nothing was going on, we did Channel Strong Tour. We've been doing the community block parties now for some time, brought some crazy, radio recognizable names to you and, in private concert mode. All American Rejects, Better Than Ezra, Sugar Ray, Tonic, and most recently Flo Rida. So, we love this community, and it's actually many communities that come together as the larger industry, just like any big city. And we think it's strong, and we think it's going to continue to grow. And that doesn't just mean here in the U.S., right? Could be in Canada and Europe and Australia, New Zealand, and APAC. It does, kind of span around the world, and it's exciting to see it.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing that you see in the MSP industry that a lot of things start with the crazy Americans in North America, and then kind of Canada gets involved, and then, the craziness kind of spreads. And so you see this interesting evolvement of MSP over the last, I've been doing this for 20 something years now, maybe 30 if you really count all of it. And it's just interesting to see that dynamic, and going global, I think, is so important because I think it also follows the trend of small to medium-sized businesses. And I think that's why MSP is so important today, is because we are the backbone of IT for small to medium-sized businesses, which are the fastest growing section of the economy, at this date and time.
100%. Here's the reality. I think, during COVID times, this industry proved how important they are and how resilient they are to the other businesses that make the world spin. At the end of the day, technology is not decreasing in use; it's increasing. And the more it does that, we can have the debate about self-service IT and is the MSP needed anymore, and at what point do you hire internally rather than use an MSP? These are all topics that have been going on since me and you have been in the sandbox. But I argue that as it gets deeper and there's more and more layers, that it actually gets harder to do it on your own, and it gets harder to manage once it's in there. It doesn't just run. I know that's what everybody thinks happens, but your car doesn't just run. It needs work. It needs maintenance. You need to keep it going. And that's no different than the technology of the day. And quite frankly, if you want to start a company, small, medium business, let's just say for the sake of this discussion, sub 500 employees, which cover 98% of the businesses, at least here in the US for that matter. I think that the only way that they, get aggressive and can grow the way we all want to see them grow is by leveraging the tools of the day. Tools of the day is technology. Back in the day, it used to be the printing press and the hammer and the chisel. 2025, we're talking about AI. We're talking about automation and RPA and all these other cool tools that have kind of bubbled up to the top. They can be leveraged, but we need to leverage them in a way that's consistent, Eric. I've been around a long time, so have you. The shiny object sounds great until McDonald's throws it into 90 locations as a pilot test, and the AI failed. It failed. They went back to the human being taking the order. So, in 5 years from now, is that a different test and a different result? Maybe, but let's make sure that what we're putting out there works and works consistently.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the consultancy part of our industry is really important.
Yeah. And, we do have those bright, shiny things because we are technology. We have new things coming out all the time. And so you have that bright, shiny layer, but also you have, because we're talking about fundamental business practices, such as communication, you have to have foundational things as well that are very consistent and work very well. So this is where I want to kind of switch and talk more about BVoIP and communications as one of those foundational layers.
100%. So I talk to MSPs. I'm sure you talk to MSPs all day long, all week long, all month long. There is a maturity level for sure, right? If you're a small shop running your operation on Excel and a shared mailbox versus you're a very large MSP who have bought many other MSPs to create one, larger organization, right? There's a lot of tools. And then I would say the people in the middle, the people that we all, start from in my mind, right? Hey, I started a business. I grew a business. In order to do that, I needed to make an investment in the tools to run our business. It's called the business operating system. So at the end of the day, your investment in the ecosystem of tools that you use to run your MSP without effectively running into a human being glass ceiling, right? You add customers. At what point can you not add people to service those customers? It can't be one for sure. So if you've made an investment in your tools, you understand that, for a long time, the word integration has been at your door, right? I mean, I laugh all the time. I was sold the single pane of glass and never actually saw it. I saw many panes of glass. I don't know whatever happened to the one that I was supposed to get. But at the end of the day, if you understand the reasoning for why you made the investment in the ecosystem products and the PSAs and the documentation and the RMM and all the other things that go around it, then I argue that communications should have been solved probably by the people selling you those same tools. For whatever reason, they didn't have time to deal with it or it wasn't at the top of their to-do list. And we came in as BVoIP to fix that problem, right? Like, I want to do two things. Let's call it three things. One, leverage your existing investment by plugging in the integration and automation software that we've written here at BVoIP. Make your client experience better by giving your frontline workers the tools that they don't have out of the box. And three, giving you the management overview to see what's going on in real time and after the fact. We took those three things and we created a platform here at BVoIP called OneStream. And so imagine a use case, Eric, where, now let me give you a common one that OneStream solves for. When messages via chat or SMS or phone calls reach your company, being able to identify those people via your PSA data, figure out if it's a new or existing issue, let's call it from a help desk standpoint, route them directly to the people that were already working on those things before, and if they're not available, route them to the next person up, automatically track those interactions into your PSA tools, because if they're not tracked, then they didn't happen. And if they didn't happen, how do you bill for them? And then making sure that you cover the he said, she said part of that, which never goes well once you get to that conversation unless you have the backup to make sure that it happened correctly. And then taking the transcriptions and the recordings of those interactions, getting them into your tools, and then being able to report and dashboard and wallboard off of all of that data to create new business intelligence that you would have to spend a lot of time to generate on your own, and or you just don't have the time to do it at all and therefore don't have it to make decisions off of. We can leverage some of the new AI technology. So if you've invested in OpenAI, Amazon, Google, Microsoft Copilot, we can leverage your existing investments, even in Power BI, BrightGauge, that type of stuff, and create the visibility that, quite frankly, I don't think you have all the way down to the communications level, which again is missing out of the tools that you've already made an investment into. So that is a common use case, right? A little bit of AI, a little bit of automation, a little bit of empowering your frontline worker, making sure it got into your tools, and reporting. We bring all of this to the table. We also solve for the authentication factor of the human being. Is the person messaging you or calling you who they actually say they are? And you should be challenging these people with random codes to audit logging that against your ticketing tools. And then ultimately solving the on-call / alert escalation problem. Now, there are a lot of tools out there, Eric, like PagerDuty, like answering service, like third-party help desk and knock services. But like at the end of the day, we solve for being able to automate those interactions in a triage, making sure human beings respond in a timely manner, if not, moving to the next person. And then ultimately leveraging that same technology to triage, emergency things like security alerts or outage-based alerts that your team can react at any time. And, this is just literally scratching the surface of what we've built in OneStream. We've been literally architecting this for 10 years now. And so a lot of MSPs who are like, but you're BVoIP, what is all this other stuff you're talking about? Like, this is actually the stuff we started BVoIP for. Now, if you turn around and say, but what about my customer that calls me and says that they need the phones to ring? Well, yeah, sure, we can help you with that, but that's actually not required. About 58% of all BVoIP partners, and we have a few thousand now worldwide, don't resell. They just utilize BVoIP internally because of OneStream and what it brings to the table. But if the opportunity presents itself and you want to drink the Kool-Aid and then offer the Kool-Aid, to somebody because it tastes good, BVoIP has that ability to help you in a MSP multi-tenanted way, which, by the way, if I didn't mention it before, let me try one more time. We only work with IT and managed services companies. We don't directly communicate with doctors, lawyers, towns, hospitals, architects, so on and so forth. They are your customers. And so should you want to go down the road of offering something to your customers, it is designed the way you wish every vendor worked, Eric. It's your customer. And we're dealing with you in a low risk, month to month, no minimum, no lock-in way. So you have complete control over that story should you want to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's great because so many MSPs. I just did a live stream with Craig Willard Wednesday night about month-to-month contracts, and just there's a dynamic in the small to medium-sized business world that it's not only just what they want, it's what they really need because of the way they run their businesses. Now, I love the fact that you say if it's not documented, did it really happen? Can you bill for it? Absolutely true. It reminds me of the comment of in God we trust, all others must bring data, right? But it goes farther than that. What you're doing is creating kind of a situation where you're doing these integrations, you're capturing this data, you're verifying some of this data, and that data can now be used to do the business intelligence that you were talking about. It can be fed into AI to generate other results. And it's that collection of the communications data, because communications is so data rich, right? Oh. But it's also so very unstructured that now you're bringing that to a usable place. And I think that's awesome. And I think, yes, MSPs can take advantage of that now, but I think there's also a huge opportunity for them to resell that as a service as part of the AI services that they serve in the future.
Yeah, I mean, listen, some of the things that, and again, we talked about consistency. I don't want to offer something to a customer, like I debate this all the time. They've been trying to replace the front desk help desk worker through my entire career. First it was outsourcing, then it was insourcing. Now we're trying to use the computer to replace the frontline worker. I argue that there is a level of clientele. This is the clientele we all want that will be willing to pay a premium to not deal with any of that. They want to pick up the phone. They want to get a hold of somebody who knows their account and can help them when they need it. I don't know about you. I know in some bigger cities you can text 911. Not me, man. I am calling 911. I'm
Yep.
sorry. So at the end of the day, the triaging effect of the MSP business, you want to make that experience as good and as sticky and as pleasant as possible. That keeps your customer confident that they're with the right place and that they're receiving the premium lane of the airport rather than the back of the bus kind of thing. And I think MSPs could really diverge here. They can either go down this premium route or they could go down this commoditization route. And I don't know about you, Eric, but I mean, when Frontier Airlines deleted the phone number so that you could only talk to them by chatbot, I think that deleted them from my travel options.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I've been talking about this bifurcation for a while, right? Where you're going to have MSPs who go down the commoditization, squeezing every bit of efficiency out of their tools and their people to drive a lower price for the price conscious market. And I think, no doubt, there is a price conscious market who will appreciate that and who will buy that. I just don't think that that's the most profitable model that MSPs can be going after. And MSPs will do much better to focus on business outcomes, consulting, those kinds of things to drive more value, because out of more value, you drive more profit.
100%. So if we can take the business intelligence factor as an example, if I'm able to take this communications data, your call transcription data, your PSA CRM data, and then come back to you and say, hey, this customer calls a lot more than this customer. Why is that? Well, and then I drill down further. These people at this customer communicate with us more than these people, and these are the techs that are dealing with them on a regular. And then you drill down further and you find out, well, hey, of the top offenders of the people that contact you from this particular account, Susie calls in the reset her password every day. Like, to get to that level, now you go back in your business review call with your customer and you say, hey, listen, what's happening with Susie? Why does she call every day? Can we do something different there? Because something's weird, right? Like, that's not normal behavior, right? And then also on the other realm, Eric, we talk about, the liability concerns of an MSP and the security ramifications and how that's, made it worse over time. Being able to get that data quickly in the case of an event and be able to present it changes the game. It's the difference between you being viewed as the problem to you being viewed as the answer to the problem, in my opinion. And the longer it takes for you to get the information in one of those situations, the worse the scenario, in my opinion, becomes for you.
Oh, absolutely true. Well, George, thank you so much for providing this insight into more of what BVoIP does in the OneStream platform, because that is a huge differentiator. And if anybody just thought you guys did voice over IP, I hope they understand now that it is so much more. And it's not just a resale motion to their clients. It's actually more of a product that can help them from somebody who has been there, done that in the MSP world. Now, George, I did promise you that you'd have a couple of minutes to talk about MSP Initiative, because we do promote other communities here at All Things MSP, because this is a big, wide world. We're not the only one. We don't try to be the only one. And MSP Initiative does a lot of great things in different ways than All Things MSP does. So give us a little plug of what MSP Initiative is doing this year.
100%. Listen, I mean, again, I said it earlier and let me say it one more time. There's a lot of communities that make the larger industry that we all service. I like to call it the sandbox, by the way. And some people play nice in the sandbox. Some people don't play nice in the sandbox. I like to work with the people that do. So thanks, Eric. And, I remember a time when I tagged you to help us with ticket check-in duty, and you just got in there like a rock star and helped us with some of our efforts in the past. Listen, we have definitely held a good track record with working with the larger conferences in the sandbox, the Enables, the Kaseyas, and others. and created cool experiences for the community, right? You guys all bust it all year long when you can take a few days out of your business to go network with the rest of the community and learn something in order to figure out how to, move forward. We want to reward you. So we bring the community together in like cool block parties where we can network, where we can enjoy some entertainment. Sometimes we bring those radio recognizable bands, although they're expensive. Can't do it every time. But like we definitely have many of these block parties planned here throughout 2025, both here in the US and in Europe and in APAC. We went international last year on both sides of the ocean from our perspective, which is fun because a lot of those events seem to happen in between September and November for whatever reason. But I digress. That's just how the industry works. But then we continue to do things like community minds, right? Where we can bring education to the community in a thought leadership way and not just, fake marketing under the guise of education. I'm talking about bringing MSPs from the trench like you, putting them in panels and having you hear it from them and in a way where you can interact with them in real time so that you can learn from the people who have figured some things out. Because either you're going to learn the hard way or you're going to learn the easy way. And I argue the easy way. I wish I learned that way sooner in my journey because I thought as a Philly guy, hey, we're just going to keep getting hit in the face until, it doesn't hurt anymore. That takes a toll, I promise you. So learn from other people. I think that's good. And then we like to bring, again, experts from around the industry to you so that you can learn about the MSP adjacent things, right? May not be from inside of the sandbox. We want to bring people, experts from outside of the sandbox so that you understand things that can help you, things that are going to affect you down the line, maybe new things that you can adopt in order to change how you're running your business. Or if you decide whether it makes sense to go down a particular road, we want to educate you on what's happening. So there's a lot of cool information out there. I think Eric and All Things MSP do a great job of trying to keep you updated on, how things happen in the world and how that affects, this industry. But I believe that, if we can do as much as we love technology, we're all tech guys here, Eric, you will never replace, I think COVID taught us, you will never replace the in-person connection. And I learned the best that way. And so if we can create more of those interactions, I think you will have a much different result than big events, which I know we all flock to, but it gives you a little bit more of an intimate setting where I think I thrive the most as a person trying to absorb information. So look, that's MSP Initiative. Again, it's a community-based approach to the sandbox, and we love working with people.
Yep, George, and we appreciate everything that you do. And we appreciate you being here today and providing this update.